Have you ever felt that surge of anger like a wave crashing over you, sweeping away all calm and clarity in just seconds? Imagine a mere snap of a finger, how a few harsh words or an impulsive action can ripple outward, leaving strained relationships and a fractured peace of mind. It's intense, isn't it? That a single moment can carry so much power. But here's the intriguing twist: within that same surge of energy lies a hidden tool, one that, when understood and mastered, can fuel personal growth, inner strength, and unbreakable calm. Welcome to Stoic Resonate. Today we're diving deep into anger, exploring the Stoic approach to transforming it from a force of destruction to one of resilience and control. If you're interested in personal growth, if you seek to conquer your emotions rather than be led by them, then this journey is for you. So join us. Comment below with your experiences handling anger, and let's learn together. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button to stay connected with this Stoic community. Let's spread the power of Stoicism and help others discover the strength within. Now, let's dive in. Lesson 1: Recognizing anger as a choice. We often think of anger as an uncontrollable reflex, an emotional state that seizes us without warning. But Stoicism teaches us a different perspective, one that begins with recognizing that anger is not merely an involuntary reaction, but rather a choice influenced by our perceptions. The Stoics believed that it's not the external events themselves that make us angry, but our judgments about these events. When someone interrupts us in a meeting or disregards our point of view, we often feel anger, not because of the action itself, but because we perceive it as an attack on our worth or respect. Recognizing anger as a choice requires us to become conscious of the beliefs and thoughts fueling it. Every time we feel that emotional surge, we have an opportunity to pause and ask, why does this anger me? And what belief am I holding that allows this to affect my peace? By acknowledging these underlying beliefs, we begin to strip anger of its automatic power over us. Instead of letting it control our actions, we shift the focus to understanding and questioning the source of our emotional response. Moreover, when we view anger through the lens of choice, we empower ourselves to respond with purpose rather than reaction. This approach doesn't mean suppressing feelings or pretending that anger doesn't exist. Instead, it allows us to observe the anger without letting it dictate our behavior. With this pause, we gain the chance to redirect that energy into a more constructive form, whether it be a calm response, a thoughtful reflection, or simply allowing the emotion to pass without incident. This practice is foundational to Stoicism's teachings on emotional resilience. By grounding our anger management in choice and awareness, we lay the foundation for handling all intense emotions with strength. In the end, the real power lies not in never feeling anger, but in becoming unshaken by its presence, using each instance as a chance to deepen our wisdom and sense of control. Lesson 2: The Stoic Pause, Mastering the Space Between Stimulus and Response. The Stoic pause is one of the most powerful tools in emotional regulation, especially when it comes to anger. Imagine feeling the initial spark of anger and choosing, consciously, to pause before letting it consume you. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, emphasized the importance of creating space between our initial reaction and our response. This brief pause can mean the difference between a thoughtless reaction and a thoughtful action, between impulsiveness and intention. In practice, this pause can be as simple as taking a deep breath or counting to 10 before responding. When we allow ourselves even a moment's pause, we're not just delaying the reaction, we're giving ourselves a chance to decide on a response aligned with our values. This moment of awareness allows us to step back from the immediacy of emotion, providing space to consider our next move with a clearer, calmer mind. The benefits of this pause extend far beyond just controlling anger. It strengthens our ability to respond wisely in all situations. This simple act of pausing reinforces the habit of mindful awareness, training us to become less reactive and more intentional. Each time we practice this, we strengthen the mental pathways that help us remain calm and composed, even in moments of intense emotion. Ultimately, the Stoic pause is about mastering the space between stimulus and response, a mastery that forms the basis of all Stoic practice. By using this pause to choose how we respond, we embrace a sense of inner power and self-possession that few attain. This skill, cultivated consistently, leads to lasting inner peace and resilience, making us less vulnerable to the whims of emotional storms. Lesson 3: reframing events, shifting perceptions to control reactions. Stoicism teaches us that we're often not angered by events themselves, but by the meaning we attach to them. Reframing is a Stoic tool that enables us to shift our perspective and see situations from a different, less emotionally charged viewpoint. When someone cuts us off in traffic, for example, our default reaction might be frustration or anger. But if we pause and consider alternate explanations, perhaps the person was in a hurry for a valid reason, our anger loses its intensity. Reframing allows us to step back and reinterpret the situation from a less personal standpoint. This doesn't excuse the other person's behavior, but it helps us detach our emotional response from assumptions of intent. Anger often comes from feeling personally attacked or disregarded, but by reframing we learn to see things more objectively, minimizing the emotional impact. Beyond just diffusing immediate anger, reframing fosters empathy and understanding in our daily lives. We begin to realize that everyone around us has their own struggles, their own moments of stress and difficulty. This broader perspective shifts our focus from blame to understanding, enabling us to respond with compassion instead of anger. The shift in perception can transform our experience, turning potentially negative encounters into opportunities for patience and growth. When we actively practice reframing, we become less prone to anger and more aligned with Stoic values of wisdom and moderation. This skill strengthens our emotional resilience, helping us maintain our peace regardless of external events. In this way, reframing becomes not only a method for controlling anger, but also a path to living a more centered and compassionate life. Lesson 4: focusing on what you can control, the core of Stoic emotional mastery. A central tenet of Stoicism is distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. This principle is particularly powerful when managing anger, because much of what fuels anger lies outside our influence. We can't control others' actions, external events, or the past, but we can control our response to these things. This understanding is freeing. It releases us from the constant turmoil of trying to change the unchangeable. In the heat of anger, ask yourself, what here is truly within my control? Often, the answer is simply your own thoughts, responses, and actions. When we focus solely on these aspects, anger naturally diminishes. We stop expending energy on what we can't influence and redirect that energy toward our response, choosing patience, understanding, or quiet resolution. This practice not only reduces anger but fosters inner strength and tranquility. When we release the need to control others or change external circumstances, we liberate ourselves from much unnecessary frustration. We realize that our peace doesn't depend on others' actions but on our response to them, making us less susceptible to emotional disruption. By mastering control over our reactions, we align ourselves with the Stoic virtues of wisdom and courage, transforming our responses to life's challenges. This focus on control serves as a foundation for all other Stoic practices, grounding us in resilience and empowering us to meet any situation with calm and clarity. Lesson 5: accepting anger without judgment. One of the first steps in managing anger effectively is to accept its presence without judgment. Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge all our emotions, including anger, as natural human responses. Often we might feel ashamed or guilty about experiencing anger, which can lead us to suppress it. However, denying anger only fuels it, turning it into resentment or frustration over time. Instead, try observing your anger as an observer would, without labeling it as good or bad. By acknowledging anger without judgment, you give yourself the space to understand it fully. Anger, like any other emotion, is temporary, and by merely allowing it to be, you lessen its power over you. This acceptance doesn't mean you act on your anger, but rather that you give yourself permission to feel it. From this position of non-judgmental awareness, you can more effectively assess the situation and choose a rational response. In moments of frustration, remind yourself that anger is a signal, not a directive. By viewing it as information rather than a command, you retain control over how to respond. This practice is a form of emotional detachment, seeing anger as separate from your core self, which is rooted in reason and calm. Over time, this approach helps you cultivate a stable and compassionate inner state, making it easier to process anger and move forward peacefully. Ultimately, accepting anger without judgment strengthens your resilience. You learn that emotions are transient and that inner peace is attainable regardless of external circumstances. This acceptance builds emotional strength, enabling you to handle difficult situations with a calm and grounded presence. Lesson 6. Reflecting on anger's consequences. When anger arises, it's beneficial to take a moment and reflect on the possible outcomes of acting on it. Stoics encourage us to think ahead, to consider the long-term consequences of impulsive actions driven by anger. Often, an outburst or a quick retort might feel gratifying in the heat of the moment, but the repercussions can be damaging to relationships, self-respect, and peace of mind. Reflecting on these consequences can be a powerful deterrent. By contemplating how anger-fueled actions affect both ourselves and others, we give ourselves the motivation to choose a wiser response. Ask yourself, if I act on this anger, how will I feel afterward? And what impact might this have on those involved? This mental exercise allows you to put things into perspective and see that anger's benefits are short-lived compared to its potential harm. Stoics like Epictetus advocated for considering how your response today affects your character and future. With each instance, remind yourself of the value of preserving your inner peace and the strength of character that comes from exercising self-control. These reflections help fortify your commitment to a calm response, especially in moments when anger may seem justified. Over time, reflecting on anger's consequences becomes second nature, allowing you to consistently act in alignment with your principles. This habit of forethought doesn't remove anger, but rather transforms it into an opportunity to strengthen your resolve and develop a more balanced outlook on life's challenges. Lesson 7. Channeling anger into constructive action. Another Stoic approach to anger is learning to channel its intense energy into something productive rather than destructive. Anger can be a powerful motivator if redirected into actions that align with your values. Instead of reacting impulsively, consider using that energy to make positive changes, whether by addressing a problem directly or working towards self-improvement. For example, if anger arises from feeling disrespected, use it as an opportunity to set healthy boundaries in a respectful manner. Or if you're frustrated with a particular situation, channel that frustration into finding constructive solutions rather than letting it linger and consume your peace. In this way, anger becomes a catalyst for positive action rather than a source of regret. This redirection allows you to see anger as a signal for change rather than an excuse for aggression. Each time you transform anger into constructive action, you reinforce the Stoic discipline of self-control and purpose. This practice not only diffuses anger, but also empowers you to address issues with clarity and purpose. Channeling anger into positive action strengthens your sense of agency and resilience. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to grow rather than threats to your peace. This Stoic discipline helps you build a more balanced and intentional approach to life, where every obstacle becomes a chance to cultivate wisdom and resilience. Lesson 8. Developing inner calm through daily reflection. Daily reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, and it's particularly useful in managing emotions like anger. By taking time each day to review your actions and reactions, you can learn from instances where anger may have disrupted your peace. Reflecting on moments of anger helps you identify patterns, triggers, and areas where you can improve your response in the future. Consider setting aside a few moments each evening to reflect on any instances of anger during the day. Ask yourself, what triggered my anger today and how could I have responded differently? This regular practice not only helps you process and understand your emotions, but also equips you with the insights needed to manage them more effectively moving forward. Through daily reflection, you create a habit of self-awareness that strengthens your emotional control over time. This practice allows you to anticipate situations that might provoke anger, preparing you to respond calmly and wisely. Over time, these reflections reinforce your commitment to inner peace, making anger less frequent and more manageable. Daily reflection ultimately helps you cultivate a serene inner state, as it builds your capacity for self-compassion, understanding, and intentionality. By consistently reviewing your actions, you strengthen your Stoic resolve, gradually transforming anger into a tool for personal growth and wisdom. Lesson 8. Developing inner calm through daily reflection. Daily reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, and it's particularly useful in managing emotions like anger. By taking time each day to review your actions and reactions, you can learn from instances where anger may have disrupted your peace. Reflecting on moments of anger helps you identify patterns, triggers, and areas where you can improve your response in the future. Consider setting aside a few moments each evening to reflect on any instances of anger during the day. Ask yourself, what triggered my anger today and how could I have responded differently? This regular practice not only helps you process and understand your emotions, but also equips you with the insights needed to manage them more effectively moving forward. Through daily reflection, you create a habit of self-awareness that strengthens your emotional control over time. This practice allows you to anticipate situations that might provoke anger, preparing you to respond calmly and wisely. Over time, these reflections reinforce your commitment to inner peace, making anger less frequent and more manageable. Daily reflection ultimately helps you cultivate a serene inner state, as it builds your capacity for self-compassion, understanding, and intentionality. By consistently reviewing your actions, you strengthen your Stoic resolve, gradually transforming anger into a tool for personal growth and wisdom. Mastering anger is not about never feeling it, but about transforming it from a destructive force into a source of inner strength. Each step we take toward self-awareness, conscious choice, and emotional control is a step toward a more peaceful, resilient self. So, as you navigate the complexities of anger, remember these Stoic teachings and see each instance as an opportunity to grow and strengthen your inner calm. Thank you for joining this journey into Stoic wisdom. If you found this exploration valuable, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Resonate. Together, let's cultivate a community of resilience, wisdom, and inner peace. See you in the next video.